Trump lost the trade war to China, the U.S. needs a reset. America's goal should not be merely to block Chinese goods, but to outcompete them. That will require cooperation. When former President Donald Trump began his trade war with China in 2018, imposing tariffs as high as 25% on about 3/4 of all Chinese imports. He had three goals: slash the trade deficit, which is his measure of economic success, bring back the jobs to the United States, and pressure China to stop ripping up U.S. intellectual property. On all those scores, the trade war flopped. Although the trade deficit with China initially shrank, it grew during the pandemic, as did the total trade deficit. A pickup in manufacturing jobs stalled in 2019 as higher tariffs kicked in, and the U.S. Trade Representative complained this year that Chinese firms continue to steal U.S. trade secrets with impunity. The best Mr. Trump could say is that China suffered more than the United States because it's more dependent on trade. U.S. imports of Chinese semiconductors, furniture, and other goods facing tariffs fell, and the industrial areas in China making tariffed goods showed signs of a slowdown. The trade war's only real winners were countries where Chinese firms shifted production to avoid U.S. levies, particularly Vietnam, between 2018 and 2022. Chinese investment in Vietnam roughly doubled, and its exports to Vietnam rose 75% to $147 billion, according to the consulting firm Kearney. During that same period, U.S. import from Vietnam nearly tripled to $136 billion, and Chinese firms used the country as a toll-free highway to the American market. This shift, which the economists Devin and Laura call the Great Reallocation, still leaves the United States dependent on China. If the next administration wants to buck this losing streak, it will have to rethink how it designs tariffs. And to deliver the greatest benefit to the U.S. economy, it should move beyond the single-minded framework embraced by both parties of blocking investment from China, and instead encourage the country's technology leaders to set up operations in the United States, the way Japanese car makers built American factories in the 1980s. While Mr. Trump has said he wants to boost foreign investment, he has been silent on a role for China. Instead, he's doubling down on his old strategy, promising tariffs of 60% or more on China and 10% or 20% on the rest of U.S. trading partners. Those numbers may change. Mr. Trump regularly tossed out different figures, but his goal is clear: a ring around the collar of the U.S. economy. His new trade war plan has the same flaw as the old one. Tariffs are generally assessed on imports from countries where the goods are last assembled, no matter their origin, So goods that ship from Chinese-owned factories in, say, Vietnam are considered Vietnamese export, and because the tariffs on China would be set far higher than for any other country, Chinese firms would have a huge incentive to try this two-corner shot into the U.S. market. Vietnam would stand to win again from a second Trump trade war, since it has invested heavily to support an exported economy. But Mexico would probably be number one. It has a free trade pact with the United States, meaning that it could become a zero tariff port into the country. Chinese firms are clearly getting ready. While China is a relatively small investor in Mexico, the official data doesn't capture the increased activity. This year, the Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD sent a delegation to the Mexican state of Jalisco, where it's considering building a factory, and met with the Chinese suppliers there.